Hey, what's up, guys? MJ Knight here again. I got informed of this link from IO9 from Kaiju Noir of Sons of Sarazawa. Do correct me if I did the pronunciation wrong, dude. It looks as though Knight Rider is getting another reboot. And the article reads, Knight Rider getting a digital reboot from Fast and Furious director. I'll read the article as follows. One thing we know for certain from Justin Lin, he loves car movies. I mean, he directed 4 entries in the Fast and Furious series and was recently tapped for the toy-inspired Hot Wheels film. I need to see that. So his association with the latest Knight Rider reboot makes perfect sense, but you won't be seeing it on the big screen or even on TV. That's raised a little flag at the moment. Instead, the new tale of a crime fighter and his sassy AI-powered sports car will be a digital series produced in part by Lin and his YMOF digital media company, NBC Universal, and cultivator of fandom and gamer culture, Machinima. The original version of the show, created by the prolific Glenn Larson, whose other credits include The Fall Guy, Magnum PI, and Battlestar Galactica, ran from 1982 to 1986 and has spawned several spin-offs and updates. There's no word on what specific changes this new Knight Rider will make to the material, though presumably the car and the distinctive theme music will be kept 100% intact. According to a press release, Knight Rider is an iconic franchise, indeed, whose concepts of AI and autonomous vehicles were science fiction in the 1980s and are now science fact, said Machinima CEO Chad Gutstein. Or is it Gutstein? I'll have to check for the pronunciation. Justin is one of the leading storytellers of his generation, and we couldn't be more excited to work with him on reinvigorating Knight Rider for a new generation of fans. If nothing else, it's certainly going to be better than the 2008 TV reboot. I mean, it would be extremely difficult to be worse. Clearly you never watched Knight Rider 2000 or Team Knight Rider. Alright, what to digest from this? Well, first of all, I'm just going to shoot down the senseless attack on Knight Rider 2008, also known as Knight Rider SG. Now, I've said this before, and I've been saying this throughout the Season 1 reboot of Nightwatch. Yes, there are plenty of things that could have been ironed out and polished and researched more for said series, but at the same time, given what was presented to us, I think Knight Rider SG, it went back to the original concept of what they did from the original series. They didn't do a team, they figured that didn't work, and the further we stay from Knight Rider 2000 and Knight Rider 2010, the better. I mean, I love Chevy Bel Airs, they're great cars, but you don't put KITT in a Bel Air. KITT works best, ideally in his 1982 Trans Am body, but also I'm a sucker for Mustangs. So, and the KITT Stang, I was against the KITT Stang in the beginning, in late 2007. I thought, wait, KITT's a Mustang? But after a while, it grows on you, and to be fair, and as I've said this so many times, so I've been blue in the face, like the last part of, what has it been? 8 years since it's nearly been 8 years since that show's been cancelled, and that show never left the top 10. And in its final episode, I Love the Nightlife, which was actually supposed to be after Night to King's Pawn, but they swapped Exit Light Enter Night to be the one after Night to King's Pawn, because they figured I Love the Nightlife was a better episode to end the series on. And to some degree it does, but that's not the point. Last ever episode, it came number 2 against American Idol. That'd be like any show today coming second, whether it's close second or, it's off by 500,000 views. If you come number 2 against something like American X Factor, it's like, oh, it's like, that's not easy to do. And you know, IO9 is entitled to their opinions, but I have to agree to disagree on the 2008 reboot because, again, clearly you never watched Team Knight Rider or Knight Rider 2000. But that aside, we don't really have a lot to go with on this. It says it's purely excuse me, it's purely going to be digital. I don't know how they're going to go about this. In all honesty, Knight Rider is one of those shows you have to put it on TV because it's Knight Rider. And also, have to stress this, we have been waiting and waiting for a long-awaited film adaptation of Knight Rider. You know, virtually most 80s concepts have had film adaptations. The A-Team have had it that wasn't entirely great, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I still don't think they should have done away with the GMC van, because I was with Rampage Jackson playing B.A. Baracus. Goes, you squashed my ride, I'm gonna kill you, fool. It's like, dude, I'm feeling the pain as well, because you know that van is iconic. Miami Vice had an adaptation. I'm still waiting for the real movie. And Dukes of Hazzard have had 2 movies. One with Sean William Scott, and I think the second movie that they put out, which I think was straight to DVD only, I think it was either it was a sequel or it was a soft reboot. I'm not 100% sure on the details because I never did watch it. But Knight Rider, you know, it's one of those shows that we've been, like I say, we've been waiting for so long just to see how a 21st century version of Michael Knight and Kit could work on the big screen. Even if it's just one movie, I'd like to see how it would be handled and how it would be updated but keep the basic DNA intact. And I'll give you one example of a show that's kept the basic DNA intact but updated it so it's relevant and believable for a modern audience, and that's Thunderbirds Are Go. Now, granted, Thunderbirds and Knight Rider, there are so many differences, but there are a lot of similarities. The basic tendency of the Foundation for Law and Government and Kit's prime directive is the preservation of human life. Thunderbirds are, you know, for international rescue, they're a search and rescue squad preserving human life. Plus, I always love this. I always have this idea of you open one of the pod doors up if they ever did a crossover, and I was reaching for a lot with this, but it'd be fun if they did a crossover and one of the pods has Kit inside. That'd be so cool. But it would be intriguing. But that said, I'm not going to write this off, but I do think that we do kind of need another TV series. I mean, maybe that's just me. You know, maybe I'm not seeing what it's trying to do, but I've got faith in Justin Lin because, particularly with Fast 5, 6, and 7, 6 being my most favoured. Because the fact, you know, they finally brought the Fast and Furious franchise to England, which I got a huge kick out of that. You know, he's a good, as they said in the article, he's a good storyteller. So I'll be intrigued to see what they can pull off with this. But we'll just have to wait and see. So once again, thank you to Kaiju Noir for bringing this to my attention, and until next time, folks, good night from the night.